evening. I'm Jennifer Kite with the latest from the Eyewitness Newsroom. Premier John Cain and Treasurer Rob Jolly are in Canberra tonight for the annual pilgrimage to the Premier's Conference. And while they're confident of improving Victoria's lot, Stephen Claney reports they may be in for a hard fight.
This conference will be no kindergarten party, according to Prime Minister Hawke and Federal Treasurer Paul Keating. The word from Canberra is that the states will be instructed to accept the restraint the Commonwealth is imposing on its own spending. They can therefore realistically expect to get an increase of about 7% in federal funds, or less than 2% in real terms. This falls far short of the 10% minimum John Cain says he'll be pushing for at the two-day conference, which starts tomorrow. Mr Cain says Victoria's increase should at least match the extra tax revenue expected to fill Canberra's coffers.
Now, that's the point, I think. Whether you talk in terms of 10 or 11% overall, which includes inflation, the important thing is that there be that real growth or that real increase factor around the percentage that the Commonwealth expects its revenues will increase.
Mr Cain will be asking the federal government to accept the recommendation of the Grants Commission. Stephen Claney for Eyewitness News.
And state political correspondent Stephen Claney is in Canberra tonight following the Premier's progress. Well, the clean-up will continue tomorrow morning at the Upwey High School, devastated by fire. It's estimated the blaze that began late last night will cost the school over $2 million to rebuild. Jim Brown has this report.
When the fire broke out, every available CFA volunteer in the area, 150 of them, turned out. They found the Upwey High School engulfed in roaring flames, fanned to a fury by strong northerly winds. Another problem was shortage of water pressure. Alterations to the school had reduced the number of effective water hydrants available. Several firemen were slightly injured fighting the blaze, described as the worst scene in the area for many years. The fire ripped through the west wing of the school, wiping out 15 classrooms, a staff room and the assembly hall. School records also went up in smoke and will be irreplaceable, as well as the school's own expensive audio-visual teaching equipment was lost. The arson squad were at the scene at first light, and although they believe they found the seat of the fire, were unable this morning to determine whether it was deliberately lit, and the results of scientific tests may take several days.
Two key figures in a case which has created Australian legal history today suffered setbacks in their fight against criminal charges. High Court Judge Mr Justice Lionel Murphy will stand trial next week after failing in a federal court bid to have one of the charges against him reviewed. He's charged with attempting to pervert the course of justice. Meanwhile, former New South Wales Chief Stipendiary Magistrate Murray Farquhar lost an appeal today against his 4-year sentence for trying to influence Magistrate Kevin Jones in a case against former rugby league boss Kevin Humphreys. And 23-year-old Brian Mannix of the band The Uncanny X-Men was fined $200 today after appearing in court in Dandenong. Mannix was charged with using indecent language during a performance last August. Mannix pleaded guilty to the charge. The state government has taken another step towards the automatic control of motorists. It introduced legislation to enable speed detection cameras to be used on our streets.
The legislation amendments supporting red light and speed detection cameras are aimed at freeing police for other duties. The changes will make car owners responsible for offences recorded by the cameras. Police pushed for the change because more than 1,500 people have been able to avoid prosecution because of difficulties in determining who was driving the vehicle. It also comes as police prepare to bring speed detection cameras into use. Transport Minister Tom Roper denied they're a step towards Big Brother policing or that we have moved into an era of guilty until proven innocent. Instead of paying a fine, he says, owners will still have the opportunity to prove they were not driving at the time of the offence. It'll be another couple of months before speed camera tests are completed, and initially there'll probably just be the one unit operating in Victoria. But whether or not you see it as an invasion of civil liberties, motorists will soon have another cold lens watching and waiting on the road. Stephen Claney for Eyewitness News.
Overseas now, and as Bangladesh tries to recover from the devastation brought by last week's cyclone, the country now faces the threat of widespread disease. And there is an ominous warning from weathermen in India that another huge cyclone is now threatening the Indian subcontinent.
With the threat of another cyclone, the government is mobilising all efforts to head off another disaster. Already there are grave fears of a huge cholera epidemic, similar to the tragedy that hit the area when 100,000 people were killed in 1970. The government is trying desperately to stop an outbreak of the disease. As flags flew at half-mast throughout the nation of nearly 100 million people, survivors recounted harrowing tales of drifting for hours, of huge waves. A woman who saw her 5 children washed into the Bay of Bengal wept and cried out, "It's a curse from Allah, but I don't know why." More than 200,000 people are now homeless, fleeing to higher ground before the next cyclone hits.
And in Sri Lanka tonight, an unusual story about spies. 5 boys between the ages of 10 and 13 have been arrested for spying. A newspaper report says the boys were arrested for loitering near an Air Force base, and it's believed they were trying to obtain information for militant Tamil separatists. Police have detained the 5 children without detaining them formally. And now finally the weather. For Victoria, showers tonight on the ranges, then cool and cloudy tomorrow with patchy rain developing from the west. For Melbourne, fine tonight, but showers tomorrow with a cool and mostly cloudy day with a northwesterly wind. After a low of 13 degrees tonight, we can expect a top tomorrow of 16 degrees. So some more rain tomorrow, but it will clear quickly to a fine day on Friday. Well, that's all the news for now. Join us for our first news of the day tomorrow just before Good Morning Australia. But for now, from all of us still here in the Eyewitness Newsroom, good night.